Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's tutorial. I think it's something I'm really going to enjoy. So we would be creating a social blog, Instagram-like mobile app for designers. Firstly, I just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about what we're going to be covering in this tutorial. So we will start by going over the requirements, identifying the features of the project, setting up our files assets to sort of speed up our workflow. Files such as colors, fonts, icons, illustrations, images as well. You would also see our use some plugins in AdobeXD to speed up the workflow. There are some useful plugins out there. And finally, we'd go ahead and prototype the design in AdobeXD. You would see how I set up the design asset for prototyping. We'd also talk about scroll groups, which is one of the new features in AdobeXD, and it's a really great feature for creating responsive design. And we'll talk about components and their various states. We'll not go into much detail about this. I might probably do a tutorial where I specifically talk about some of these components as well as the scroll groups. And yeah, that is it. So if you guys are as excited as I am, let's get started. So let's go over the brief. I have gone ahead to include this brief in the document, and this is just one of my preference when designing. I always put the brief in the file that I'm designing in. So what does it say? Design a social blog platform for designers where they could post design related content, but this could be anything. So what that is saying is you could post anything, and it does not necessarily have to be design related content. And users can like, share, comment, save, or post or pin posts, and also be able to follow other designers and view their stories. They could also chat with fellow designers as well. So the first thing I do is try to understand the brief. Obviously, because I wrote the brief, I know what the brief is saying. So I will go ahead and start creating the designs. So the next thing I want to talk about is how I prepare my files for the project. So if you can see on this artboard which I created, we have the icons. I sort of arrange them in a vertical and horizontal way. These are the icons I'll be using for the design. Obviously, we will not be using all these icons. I just put them there just in case I need them. We have the font style, where we have different weights as well as sizes, and I sort of give them a title, for example, the body text, the icon text, the story text, as well as the title text. And the next one is the colors, right? These are some of the colors I'll be using. Obviously, there are some pre-planning that went into this on how I would, what kind of color to use, what style, what fonts, what type of fonts or font family should I use. So these are important too. And these are the colors as well as the gradients, right? So what I want to do now is I want to add this to my style on XD, right? So if you click on this icon here, a panel will show up called document assets, right? You can go ahead and start adding all this to your document assets. And this is very important because if you want to design across different platforms or across different documents, you can actually import all this to a separate file and use them. So the way to do this is you would actually click on one of these colors, right click on them, and add colors to assets. And when you do that, it goes directly to the assets panel, and you do it for every other colors, right? Same thing with the fonts, right? I want to create a font style, character style. So I will right click on it and add character style to assets. I'll do this for all the remaining styles. Okay, so for the fonts, or for the icons rather, what you want to do is you can actually make them a component and they appear here, or you can just leave them. So I'll just Ctrl Z to undo that. For me, I would leave them, so it's up to you. If the icons are something that you want to change in the future, and this is very important, then you can just make them a component, and once you change one of them, it changes across all screens. But in this case, I will not be making them a component. I might in the future, but for now, no. Okay, so if that's clear, let's move on to start creating the designs itself. So we are the most interesting part of the design. Let's create an artboard, right? I'll be using the iPhone X artboard for my design. I also want to mention that I do have a sketch. Like one of my process is I do sketch out my ideas on paper that I want to do before I move on to wireframing, and then I move on to the final design. I do also have the wireframe with me that I'm looking at right now. So I'll be designing from that. The other thing I also want to mention is when I'm designing, I like to break the screens into sections, right? I need to know, for example, what's going to be at the top, what's going to be at the middle, and what's going to be at the bottom of the page. So this is the way I break down my designs into easy and simpler chunks, so that it's consistent and it's easy to follow, right? So I have an artboard of inspirations. So this is very, very important. As designers, you want to have an artboard of inspiration that you look at to define what style of design you want to do. So the first thing I want to do is create the top navigation, right? So I click on the rectangle button, and then I draw out a rectangle shape to fill out the entire screen. So I'm gonna make this 90 for the height, and then 375 pixels for the width, the same width with the artboard. Align it to the top. We can use the aligner over here. All right, so I also decided to create 3 icons, right? I want one to be the profile image, I want one to be the chat icon, and then the final one will be the hamburger menu, so the left hand menu. And to do this, the first thing I'll do is I'll create a circle, right? But before then, I want to create rulers to align my work, so there will be aligned horizontally as well as vertically. So you can do this by hovering over the side of the artboard, and then you just drag in the arrow, the rulers. So I want this to be 30 pixels. Is it not giving me 30? Good. On the left and on the right also. Okay, so all my design assets will not go beyond this section, right? Good. So this would be 38. 38 is fine. Let's create the hamburger menu. This is very easy to do. So you click on the rectangle icon, and then you draw out a rectangle. We'll remove the border and give it a fill, and then round the radius of 10 pixels. Right, let's make it 2 pixels for the height. Okay, we'll duplicate it by holding down Shift as well as Option for Mac or Alt for Windows. Okay, let's group it, and then we position it at the center of the circle we created. Right, let's make this the bottom bar to be smaller than the first one, just to stylize it a little bit. All right, now let's group it, both the circle as well as the hamburger menu. Ctrl G to group, or Command G to group. And the reason why I created this circle is that when you start prototyping, I wanted to give it a good area to click on, right? So I'm going to remove the border as well as reduce the opacity to 0 for the circle. So it's just like a bounding box or a bounding circle around the icon. I will do that for every other icon. So the next icon we want to create is the chart icon. So we duplicate this, we delete this the hamburger menu, and then we go to, we have our icons already selected from the last time, so we go and look for a chart icon, right? And then let's use this, or rather I have an icon that is suitable for that. Okay, remember that there is a circle here, right? So the icon is inside the circle, just to give it enough breathing space. We want to change the icon to this color, and then we create the next thing we want to create is the next thing we want to create is the profile picture. So we're going to create a circle, give it a border of, let's say, blue. Let's use this blue, and then we duplicate the circle, copy and paste. So we have two now, right? We want to reduce this and remove the border and give it a feel of that color. And then we also want to group this. Okay, now move it so the align it to the left or to the right. Good. We need an image to signify that this icon is the profile. So there's a plugin that I use for this, and it's called user profile. So to use this plugin, you have to select the icon or the shape that you want. So apply the plugin to, and then click on the plugin. It's called user profile, and then you can just insert a random photo, right? So it's easier. Instead of downloading the photo from the internet, you can just do this. So nice. Okay, so let's move this. So now we have the header section. So the top navigation is done. We want to group everything. And call it top navigation. It's always good to name your layers. Just keep them organized. All right. So the next section we'll be building will be the stories, just like how Instagram has different stories. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's create the story section. So if you guys have seen the way Instagram and some of these social apps out there, they have stories at the top of the screen. So it's very good to just get to know what's happening. So I'm going to drag out an overshape of about, let's say, 60 pixels for the width and the height. And then if you remember earlier when I was talking about adding colors and gradients and shape to my document assets, so I have this here. Okay, so if what I can do now is, if I have this over circle selected, and then I can just click on one of the color attributes, and it applies automatically to this. Okay, and then I can also edit it, because the gradients, I want it to come from the top left to the top right. This is the way I want it, right? And what we can also do now is we're going to duplicate this, copy and paste, or you can just use Ctrl D to duplicate it. All right, so because this, we have a shape under this shape, let's open our layers panel. What we want to do is we want to make this shape, I want to give it a blur to make the icon pop out a little bit more. All right, so what we can do is we'll go and give it a Gaussian, a background blur. No, not a background blur, an object blur, right? Want to give it an object blur, and reduce the size. Okay, and then we bring this back here. So this is going to be the shadow, right? And it is actually behind our main shape. Okay, and we want to reduce the opacity to 50%, and we also want to reduce the blur to around 15%, or 15 rather. Okay, so this is just personal preference, whatever works for you. I think I like it the way it is. What I can also do now to make it pop out more is give this a drop shadow, Okay, and I would make the drop shadow, I'll give it a color. I can just pick the color and reduce the percentage to around, let's say 25 or 30%. 30% is good. So I love the way it is right now. I can highlight all and then group them. Okay. This is going to be my live. If I want to add a story to this application, I can just click on this button. So what we need now is a plus icon. So let's go back to our icon artboard and bring a plus. I think this will work. So you go into the group and then you paste. Okay. You align it center, horizontally and vertically, and then you can rotate it. And change the fill color to white. So now we have an icon for that. Great. We also want the other part of this live or this story section is we want the user to see other parts of other users that have actually uploaded their stories. So we can do the same thing for this. So we can drag out a shape, an over shape of about 60 pixels at the top and bottom. Okay. So just to mention something here is we'll be creating the components, and the reason for me creating the components here is because I want to create different states for these stories. So there will be one state where it shows that you viewed the story before, and it's also another state for showing that the stories have not been viewed. So to do this, we can create a border around each story to show that it has actually not been viewed, and we will remove the border to show that it has been viewed. So to do this, we create a circle 60 pixels horizontally and vertical, and then we duplicate it. We can copy and paste. So we have 2 circles now. The same thing we did for the profile. Would reduce the one that is going to hold the image or hold the story, and then we leave this outer one to show as the border. We are going to remove the fill color, and we're going to give the border a red color. For the inner circle that is going to hold the stories, we can just give it a fill color of this dark color for now, and we're going to remove the border. All right, and we would go back to our favorite plugin and use we'll have this selected, and then we can just go and use the user profile, click on it, and it's going to generate an image for us. Yeah, we can use this image. Okay, so now what we want to do is that we want to create a component. So we select both of these circles, group it, and then you can see at the top right of your screen where you see components. You can click on the plus button to make it a component. Or before we do that, let's let's give it a name. So this is going to be stories. Okay, and then let's make it a component. For you to know that it's a component, you're going to see a green border bounding box around that element, and this is showing that this is the master component when you have this diamond shape field. So if I duplicate this now, you can see there's a difference. In this is filled, but in this is actually not filled, right? So this is showing that this is the main component. So let's take out the main component and put it out there. We don't need it. We'll take out and we'll move it 20 pixels, right? Okay. So let's go back to the main component. We want to create different states of this component. So one state is showing that it's been viewed, the other state is showing it's not being viewed. So to do that is once you go back to the right hand side, the right hand side of your panel, your screen, and then you click on the plus button, and what you see is that you can see a new state. There is an over state and there is a toggle state, but we want to create a new state. So you click on it, you give it a name, and this is going to be seen, right? Just to show that stories have been seen. And what we want to do with this highlighted, what we want to do is we want to remove the opacity or reduce the opacity to 0, so it's not showing. So now we have two states. We have the default states and we have the scene states, and that was the master component. Now when we go to the child components of this master component, we are able to create different states for this, right? So let's and this will be scrollable, right? So the user will be able to scroll along this side horizontally. So let's make this on this scene. So what we can do is click on it and select scene, click on it and select scene. So there is a visual representation of the stories. So one is seen and one is not, and then we can also change the images for them. So to select an image or select an element that is in a group, what you can do is that you can hold down Command and then click on it to select it, right? So I hold down Command and click on this, I select this. So you can do this here, and then we go back to our plugins, have it selected, and you just insert a random image. That's fine. Cool. So let's group all the stories, and I also want to talk about scroll groups, right? So I want to create a scroll group of this particular grouped element, and I want it to be an horizontal scroll group. Then I can have the elements, the grouped elements selected, they must be grouped, and then click on this icon here. Alright, so now what I can do, if we go and view this, we see that this is scrollable in that particular section, right? And that is what we want to do. You can increase the size of the scroll group. Yeah. So we have this section completed. But the next thing we want to do is we want to give it a title. So we want to give this section a title. So this is going to be stories. Alright. And you also remember earlier on when I was adding my character I was adding my fonts to my character style. So what I can do now, once this character is selected, I can go here and click on this, for example, right? I want this. So that style is automatically applied to the elements that I clicked on. So I want 15 pixels difference. So I can move it down, just move them around a little bit. Now we can delete this component, which is the master component, because we have it already. We also want to create a label that shows or make the user able to view other lives, or view or see all the stories that their followers have actually posted. So to do this, you can just type see all, and we can give it a font color that's different from the main title. So with this, we have our section completed, and the next section is creating the feed. All right. So for the final step, we'll be creating the cards and populate them around the feed page. Okay. So the way I want to design this is that I've decided to create a card that will contain an image, a title, and description. So let's do that. Let's make it 170 for the height. Big enough. I might even go bigger. We want to, and let's make it 240 for the width, or let's make it 250. Okay. Let's duplicate this rectangle. Copy. Oh, sorry. Copy and paste. We're going to make this let's make this 120, and then the bigger card will be 200 for the height. I mean, these are just my preference. I think you can decide to make it whatever size you want to. Let's round the corners for both cards. And for the middle, for the inside card, which is the smaller one, we want to round the top edges, but leave the bottom edge 0 sharp. Okay. Now I'm just going to take an image and use as a placements. Yeah. Now just give me a second. So to put an image here, you can just drag and drop the image from wherever you have them. And we want a text as a title, so we can copy this and place this here. And we also want a description, so let's give this a name. Okay, let's duplicate this. We're going to make this a text, a paragraph text, right? And to do this, you want to click on this icon here, so give it a fixed size, and then you can drag, and we also want to, so we would use another plugin called let me see, what's it called? Lorem Ipsum, right? You can use it, but you have to have the element selected. So you go to the plugin section and fill with placeholder text. All right, we want to use English or whatever. You have different languages here. I'll use English, and then you insert text. Good. And you remember when we go to our character card, we want to give this a different styling, and then we can just use this. Select this, give it a different styling. Okay, let's remove the border for this. And to sort of distinguish this from the main screen, we want to give the screen a different color, just a color that is a little bit of white. F8, F8, F8. Okay, I think this color is good. Then we remove the opacity for this. I don't know, I feel the white is better. Or what do you guys think? Let's use the white. Yeah, and then on this we can just give this a drop shadow instead, a very subtle drop shadow. Okay, I think this is fine. There's another feature I want to talk about that XD has that is really good. So let's duplicate. Now let's group this. Okay, it's called stack, and what that does is, if I make this a stack, right, let's do that right now. Okay, I can make it stack horizontally or vertically. I can also increase the weights because they are grouped, they're in a group. And once I click on this and duplicate this, and I keep duplicating this, right, I can decide to delete this maybe later on, and it just kind of resize itself. So this is really good for responsive design. So I'm just gonna make this 2 pixels back. Okay. Now let's group that. So now we have the card. The next thing I want to create is an image of a person who posts this content. Okay, we're going to use the same style we have here. So we're going to give this let's say red or blue. Okay, duplicate this, so copy and paste, right? Reduce it, the size. Okay, and what we can do is we're going to use our plugin to generate an image for that. All right, I think that's good. Okay, and I think the last thing we want to create is some of the statistics of this content. So the amount of likes, the amount of shares, and so on. So that's what we're going to do now. I want to render this I want to give it a border radius, but I just want to random the bottom side instead of all the sides. So I can go here and make the top left and the top right 0. And I want to bring this back to the front. Okay. And I'm going to remove the radius and give it a slightly different color. Okay, so the next thing we want to create is 3 icons. One will be the art icon, the other one will be the share, and the final one would be maybe the save icon. Okay, or the comments. So I have this here, which is a style I already created. Let's make this white. Okay, so this will have a like, and if you remember, we have a styling for our icons. I think this is it. All right. I'm just going to show you guys how I created this. Okay. All right. So if you want to create an art icon is very simple in XD. What you can do is you go to this polygon tool, hold shift and drag out a shape, right? And then you can come here and type in less than, that's the less than sign, 3, and click on enter, and it gives you a shape, a love shape, an heart shape. That's so easy to do. And the next thing I did was I just placed it in a circle and I gave it a different styling. So that's how I created the heart shape. So for those who are wondering how I created it. This other icon, the icon we want here would be the view icon. So we want to grab this and paste it here. We'll delete the art and leave the and we'll give it a color the same with the art color, and this would be the amount of people that have actually viewed it. So let's say 25k. And you have about maybe 120 or 130 likes. Let's just align this to the middle. Okay, and the final icon we want on that section would be the share icon. So the user would be able to share this particular post without even going into the post itself. And you can see that I didn't put it in a circle just like I did the rest. I think this is just a different type of styling. Usually I can decide to put it in a circle just like I did the other icon to make it consistent. I just want to show you that you can also leave it like this. This is fine. And sometimes it also shows that it is clickable, right? So whichever style that you want, you can just do it. I'm thinking about giving this a drop shadow. And this is just personal preference, because I'm thinking of I'm thinking of prototyping this. So I'm just thinking about, when I click on it, what's the feedback I'll get. So when I click on it, maybe the drop shadows kind of pop the image out a little bit, and when it's not clicked, then it just stays neutral. Okay, so we have this already. I think this is fine. The next thing we want to do is we want to group this bring this back to the front. We want to group this and give it a stack just like the rest, right? And you see it grows automatically if I duplicate it. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And I don't know if I should give it a border. just to show that it's clickable. These are just personal preference, like I said earlier, so you can decide not to. I think I'll take out the border. It's fine. Okay, so now we have our main card, and what we can do is we can actually duplicate this over and over again just to show the field. But what we can do to do that is we can use the repeat grid. Okay, and then just drag out, and in the repeat grid you can actually reduce the size. So if you want to make it 15, 16, 20, whatever, and now we have a post populated on the field page. And what I want to do now is change the images for this. Okay. So we have our field page completed. You can go ahead and start, editing the names, the image, the icons, the numbers on the icons. But I would not do this because of time. So the next page we want to design is the product or the post detail page. So when you click on this, what screen it goes next? So let's get to that. Yeah, so guys, I just want to show you guys I finished importing all the necessary tags and changing some of the icons, numbers and so on. So I just quickly want to show you how it works right now. Okay, so you can see that it's scrolling, but this is kind of fixed, and this is also fixed, so it's not scrolling with the page, right? You can see, and this is very useful when you're designing. And to do that is very simple. You just click on this grouped icon, and then you make it fixed position when scrolling. Also click on this fixed position when scrolling. And if you see also on the stories, I can also move them left to right and right to left. Yeah, I just want to show that. So let's go on and create the details page. So we can duplicate this page, get rid of all the elements because we don't need them, and we can call these details or detail. Okay. So what we want to do is that we want to create, so when the user click on this, for example, it takes them to this page. So we want to create an image to show that the user is coming from this page. Let's make it 330 pixels for the height and same width. Okay. On here we want to create sort of a section, or should I call it a tag that shows person who actually posts this. Okay, so like I said earlier, this is gonna be like different design patterns, and it's just my preference, right? You can always change this, and let's give this a color to distinguish it. Remove the border, give it a color, a few. So the next thing we want to do is remove the border for this too. Let's duplicate this, copy, and paste. So we have two of these. I'm going to reduce this to about 55 for the width and 55 for the height. We're going to make it a perfect circle. Let's give it a border of blue, and then we're going to duplicate. We're going to do the same thing we have here over here, or we could just copy this and use it, but it's always good to practice. So let's copy and paste. So we have two of these. We're going to reduce the size. Let's remove the fill for this. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to our favorites plugin and insert an image. Nice. Okay, so we have this and this. Let's just group them to make our work a little bit neater. All right, we want to also the name of the person. Call him James. We also want to have a follow label. So the user, whenever you're on this page, you can just directly follow this person who actually posted this particular blog. Okay. James Smith. Sounds cool. So we have this on the group. Yep. And the next thing we want to do I'm just, adjusting this a little bit. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is have a section just below the image, and this is going to be a section that shows, give it a different color, section that shows the amount of likes, views, as well as the save information. So we need 3 icons here. So for us to be precise, what we can do is divide this. So you go to the width input on your right and divide the total width by 3, and to give you 125. Okay, so let's go and get one of our icons. I think we have one here. Can just copy this and paste it here. Make this bigger. Yeah, I think this is fine. And this is just to show that the heart icon is clicked. And for this, we have a save icon over here. You can just grab this, copy it, and then you can just give it the same color, delete that, and use and replace it with the save icon, and adjust the size. And you're gonna have let's give it a different number. So we have a section here. So we have a section here that just shows you, that gives you more stats about this particular post. And the next thing we want to do is create the main text, the content of the post, right? We need a title and we need a description. Okay, so we can use this. Let's bring out our rulers just to see where we are. Okay. And let's give it the title styling, which is this. What am I going to give this? How to plan or design, for example. Okay, we need this. We copy and then we'll paste it here, and this is going to be 14 pixels, and the font weight is going to be light. We can use our plugin, Lorem Ipsum plugin again, just to fill out that section. So you have it selected and you click on fill with placeholder text, and you click insert text and insert the text. Let's increase the distance between the text. I think 23 is okay. And if you have, you can just double click on this, so resize it. right? Okay, we need a few more details to describe this. So we can take this font to show the time it was created. We're gonna give it a different styling and different color. We'll do this for the reply or the comment. So if the user wants, if someone is going through this page and just wants to quickly make a comment, we can just show this text over here. Okay. For the comments, let's see the icons to use. Let's use this for the comments. And what we can do is we can just delete this part of it and I have this. Let's group them. And let's make it an horizontal stack or a vertical stack, so that once we increase this, like if I keep typing now, you see the size increases and it pushes other elements down, so that is also good. And the final thing we want to create for this page would actually be the comment section, so the users will be able to make comments. So we can take this and for the comment section, you can just grab this. All right, post it here. We'll use it. We can grab this also and sort of reduce the width and the height. Okay, we also want the name of the person who made the comments, so we can just grab these. All right, and let's group this. Or before grouping it, we want this section also for each of the comments. And this will be reply instead of comment. Just group this and give it a vertical stack, right? And then we can actually duplicate this down. Yeah, so the next one of the final thing we want to create will be a floating button. So we're going to use the same style we use for the create a story, but floating. For the floating button, we're going to create this, use the same style that we used here. Okay, and just reduce the size. Or we need to just rotate it. No, we don't need to rotate it. Let's increase it a little bit. Okay, so when the user clicks on this, of course, few buttons comes up. So the share button, you know, the save button, the pin button will come in from here. Will come out from this floating button. That's the way I envisioned it. I'm thinking of making this a rounded square instead of fully rounded, just a little bit. And maybe we can give it a background blur. I don't know. Anyways, let's take it back. I think this is okay. You guys can always make whatever changes you like. So for the final, we're going to create the extra buttons that are going to pop out from this whenever we click on this floating button, and that will be let's make it 2 extra buttons. So one will be for the save, and one will be for share. So we want to distinguish it, so we have to take out the shadow, change the color to white, and the drop shadow should be black, and give it, reduce the percentage opacity to around 10%. So we know this is the main button, and then these are like the secondary buttons. Let's get the necessary icons to use. So we have the share and we have the, I don't know, maybe the send. That could be an added feature. So we're going to hide these buttons, right? Because it is only when this is clicked, right? When it's clicked, it will be something like this, and then this will pop out from this from the parent button. So to do that, you can just group them and take it on the there we have it. And we also want to be able to go back to this field page, and so we need a back icon. Let's use this. I think this is good. You can do the same, create a circle and then put the icon inside. So here we have it, right? So you can move from this to this and then back to this. Okay. The final page we want to create will be the side menu, and that's going to be really, really simple and very straightforward. So for the final design, what we want to create is just the side menu. So it just swipes from the left or from the right, whatever style suits you best. So let's duplicate this again, but now we're going to get rid of all these. We don't need it. Let's call this side menu. Okay, it's gonna be really simple. All right. Give it a black fill color, so it's gonna be like an overlay, right? And then we're gonna have reduced the opacity to about 30%. Let's duplicate this square, or this rectangle rather. Bump out the opacity, make it 250 for the width, and then give it a white color. Okay, we need a call to action button to cancel it. This is optional if you want to. So we can just take this. Okay, just give it a solid fill color of white, and then we'll give the icon this color, and then the drop shadow will be black. And let's rotate this to make it look like a cancel button. Alright, that's good. Let's create another rectangle. So we'll duplicate this, copy, and paste. And we're going to make this about 250. So this will hold the image and the name of the user. Let's give the rectangle slightly different color. Yep. And in here we can just drag this. Let's look for something to use. Let's use this or this. Okay, paste it here. Increase the width and the height. That's fine. The name. We'll call this person Amina James. And then we can have the location and give it a styling and change the field to this United States. That's also optional. I'm just moving them to make them align to the center. Alright. Now let's start creating the links on the side menu. The first one we're going to have is the profile. And then we have my posts. And group this and make it stack. So I can just do this easier. Inbox, notification, settings. So these are some of the extra pages that might be included in this application, right? And then for the final link, would have a logout. And you can make this red just to distinguish it from the rest of the other links. Okay. And we have a nice looking side menu. So yeah, this is the design of all 3 pages. I think I'm going to leave it here for now because it might be taking so much time. I'll just quickly prototype this to show you how it works. So you click on the prototype link on the top left, and you move it here. Slide right or slide left, ease in, ease out. And how long is it going to take to transition? Let's say 1 second. Right, and then we have this menu. We're going to make this an overlay instead of a transition. So what that means is this artboard is just going to overlay on this. So that's what we need. And then this would be previous artboard. So whichever wherever you are on the application and you click on the side menu and you cancel it, it's going to remove the side menu but still be on that page you're in. Okay, and then the back button, go back here. So let's see what we've done so far. We can scroll, we can move this around, and we'll click on the side menu. We have this, and then we can quickly go back, and then when we click on the post, you have this also, and you can also scroll on the post. So this is nice. I didn't prototype this, but once you click on this, those 2 buttons just pops out, and then you can go back here. All right, that's cool. So there you have it, guys. This is the end of the tutorial. We've actually come to the end of the tutorial. I just want to thank you so much for being here to the very end of the tutorial. And if this is something that was useful to you, and please kindly subscribe to my channel and also like the video and share it with your friends and family or anyone who's interested in UI design. That will be very, very beneficial to me. And before I let you guys go, I just want to inform you that I am actually creating a digital transformation UI kit for the finance sector. So basically those who are in the banking sector as well as fintech could use this transformation kit. I've included the link below. At the time of recording this, the UI kit is not available, but depending on when you're watching this video, it might be available. And so make sure you subscribe to the link in the description, and so you get notified whenever the UI kit is available. Thank you guys once again, and please stay safe.